everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven. I'm joined today by the now usual panel. I've got Austin, Lisa, David, and Anthony, and we're here to talk about the Princess Peach Showtime demo that recently dropped. Almost all of us have played it. I'll kick us off just by saying that my daughter absolutely loved it. She played it before me, and she said it was her favorite game of all time. And she was mad that she'd only play through 2 levels. She's like, Dad, what's wrong? It's not letting me play anything else. And I had to explain it. It's just a demo. But she was watching me play my first time, and she was teaching me how to play. It's like, oh, no, do this. But she absolutely loved it. And there's one aspect of it that I really, really, really loved, and that is we got an Overcooked 3 Peach Edition in here. And yes, you can overcook the food, so it really is Overcooked 3 Simulator. The one thing I have to say about it is there were some frame rate issues, at least for me. Some low frame rates, specifically when there was a little cutscene or whatnot. Yeah, I'm hoping that the actual release will be a little bit more polished for sure. But let's hear what the rest of the panel thinks.
I was going to say, I did notice some frame rate issues. I didn't see like super low, like prolonged frame rate issues, but definitely a lot of skips in certain scenes and stuff.
During the loading screen, like with the curtains, it was like pictures. But I guess that's fine. Because, it's just loading, but who cares? But still, I was like, whoa.
Like, first of all, I thought it had a lot of charm. It reminded me of something like Yoshi's Crafted World. That charming, casual kind of gameplay. Like, they really lean into the theme of it. with it being a stage play in Princess Peach Showtime. And, like, all the props and scenery are, like, stage props. Even, like, some of the effects that happen look like, somebody dragged a stage prop onto the stage and you have to interact with it. So I liked that aspect of it a lot.
I do feel like it sounds like all of us kind of experienced some frame rate issues to some degree or another. Not anything game breaking, like Steven said. It's hopefully just something that is part of the demo or something that can be fixed with a day one patch. But just a couple thoughts that I kind of picked up from it. I know one of the criticisms that I heard leveled at it when I went in was that it was overly simplistic, that there was, it was too, I guess, childish in a way. And so I kind of went into it wondering if that was going to be my experience. And what I found is I was pleasantly surprised to think, actually, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, because in Nintendo games like this, it feels like they tend to really ease you into the mechanics, and then they just kind of compound on their complexities going forward. And I feel like that's something that the trailer at the end of the demo also kind of hinted at. There was a couple reapplications of certain forms, shall we say, that Peach can take, where it looked like they were doing, something, more complex applications of it. And I don't know how deep that's going to go, but the game in a lot of ways reminded me of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which I think is an absolutely fantastic game. Mechanically, that game is not what you would call a very complex experience. And, the story is probably just about as deep as that of Princess Peach Showtime itself. But, I guess one thing I've learned, being a longtime Nintendo gamer, is that when Nintendo makes a deceptively simple game, that's when you should withhold your judgment especially hard, because they usually end up surprising you with some really clever applications of the mechanics that they created for the game. So I don't know if that's how it's going to turn out, but the little I played gave me hope that that's how it's going to turn out, because there was some fun, if very basic experiences they allowed us to have. You play only as one level as Sword Fighter Peach, and then another as Patissier Peach. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. Both of them, they were very different in the type of mechanics they applied, but each one kind of felt like they were hintings at some of the really fun ideas that they could bring to bear. And I don't know, I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is it feels like this game is one of those Nintendo staples where, and when I say staples, let me clarify what I mean. The kind where they've stripped away almost everything about the game except for the gameplay itself. And the thing about Nintendo games like that is they tend to really polish that gameplay to a spit shine. So I'm hopeful that that's true of this one. I enjoyed what little I played so far, and like I said, it's admittedly somewhat simple, but I could see this turning into a very, very charming, very enjoyable game. And there also has to be something has to be said for just how fun they made like the costume decisions for Peach. My wife was actually, you know, she kept on saying, "Oh, these costumes are so cute." We were actually over at Austin's place when he was playing it, and both my wife and his were in the background being like, "I love that costume. Oh my gosh, look at all of these Halloween ideas, all for, you know, just being Peach." And my wife Caitlin, she was like, "Can I play? I want to have a turn." She's not much of a gamer, so anyway, it's packed with charm. It feels like there's a lot of ways that they could just really build off of the basic building blocks that they've shown us so far in the demo, and just turn it into a really fun, just, you know, game for the sake of being fun, not necessarily anything deeper than that. And, you know, Nintendo has a history of making some pretty solid, you know, offerings in that regard. I don't think I'm going to pick it up day one unless, you know, some reviews really, really change my mind, but I think it's one I want to someday.
The thing I was going to say was that I've heard rumors that it seems like mind-numbingly easy. Okay.
Well, there's definitely I managed to find a balance where it wasn't technically challenging, but the charm and several of the elements all came together to make it an enjoyable experience anyway.
Mm-hmm. Lisa, I would compare it to Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Oh, okay.
That game is not hard, but
it's really fun.
That's probably how I'd compare. And I wouldn't say that I've played enough of Princess Peach Showtime to be able to say that it's on that same level. But the experience I've had so far makes me think it could get there.
Okay.
And well, you know what? I actually found the patissier stuff kind of challenging if you cared about doing well.
The cookies, I did not get all the stars.
Same. If you only care about pass fail, then it's easy. But if you want to do well and get all the collectibles, then it was kind of challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Austin.
Oh, sorry, Austin. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say the same thing. Everything from icing the cakes to, I mean, there's certain things in that game that it's just like, yeah, they definitely brought a little bit of challenge to the table, but the overall gameplay, it's pretty simplistic.
So maybe what they're going for is like low floor, high ceiling.
I'd say that's pretty standard for their Mario games. I mean, you could say that's even true of Mario Wonder. I mean, it doesn't require a particularly high skill ceiling to beat the game, but my heavens, if you 100% it, you're going to get your butt handed to you several times over.
And I feel like that's Nintendo's new strategy in general, and maybe it's been that way for a long time, where like Lisa said, low floor, high ceiling, where if you only care about beating the game or just like a pass-fail kind of experience, then sure, it'll be easy. But if you care, where the challenge comes in is if you care about doing everything. Especially in Mario Wonder, for example. If you care to do everything 100% of the game, you will have incredible challenge. My goodness.
Lots of spankings.
And so that's one thing that I have hope for with the Princess Peach Showtime is that, you know, I played the demo levels. I didn't replay anything, but I didn't find all the collectibles. And I was surprised. I was like, where would have I, especially the first level, where would I have missed that? But apparently I missed some stuff. So I can imagine that if I cared about doing all that you can and actually finding all the collectibles, that it could be pretty challenging.
I suspect that this is not going to be an extremely high reviewed game because it just kind of falls into a little bit of a category where it seems like there's going to be some prejudice. But I would still see it being, you know, a well-liked game, at least generally favorable. And I think that for Nintendo fans who appreciate that kind of design approach of a low floor, high ceiling, high charm, you know, high gameplay focus, I think it could be a good one.
I suspect that I agree with you, Anthony. I suspect that, you know, reviewers who actually like Nintendo maybe give it like an 8 out of 10 is where I would suspect it'll land with reviews, but if it, playing it and getting those vibes of games like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Kirby's Epic Yarn, Yoshi's Crafted World, like if it compares to those in the final product, then I think it's going to be worth playing. But if my kids are interested, that'll make it a lot easier.
Something that I think my kids would enjoy, my wife would probably enjoy. In fact, I was joking that I would get the game for my wife as a birthday present, but it's really for me, because as I played the demo, I was like, you know what? I could see myself enjoying this. I think, as Anthony was saying, there is a little bit of a stigma, and I think Nintendo's trying to break that. I think they're trying to show people, yeah, look, the target audience might be younger kids, especially girls, because they're going to be interested in princesses and costumes and all of these other things that we as a society have just decided, this is a girls' game or these are girls' things. But I think we're all adults, and we can all, realize that there's a lot of things in there that are going to be, what am I trying to say? It's basically going to be something that anyone can enjoy.
Yep.
I think that bear in mind, this is, because it's a demo, our thoughts are just on what we've seen so far and are subject to change. We do not realize, as some people have mentioned here, that the controls are a little wonky. Sometimes the frame rates drop, but that's something that could be patched day one. So I tend to give a little more leniency when it comes to those things that we notice. Overall, I feel like it was very pleasant. It's simplistic in its gameplay, the dialogue. It felt, reminiscent of the new Kirby game, like Anthony mentioned, or Yoshi's Crafted World, for example. But I thought it had a very brilliant use of like the theater aspect with scene changes and props and costumes, and there's a lot of potential there with all of the things that they've introduced. So that's something I'm excited to see what they do. How they can bring a little more challenge to the table with all these different costumes and fighting different bosses using, whatever different techniques are introduced later on in the game. But another thing that I think could have used a little more work, or at least could have given people a better idea as to what's, as far as what's coming forth in Nintendo games. I think Peach needs a voice, and maybe I'm alone in this thought, but I think they did really well to kind of maintain the design, the really polished design that they used, similar in the Mario movie that recently came out. But I don't know, guys. I'm tired of silent protagonists, and I think we're in an era of video games where we can admire a voice actor's work and still relate to the character and put ourselves in their shoes and say, this is really cool. We don't have to just pretend that it's our own voice.
Yeah.
Never been trying to wait for. Sorry.
Nope, you're good.
I say one for that kind of thing either. I've always related better to characters that had their own characters. Oh,
Exactly.
It's interesting with this Princess Peach game because it's kind of in between, where she does have a significant amount of voice acting, but there's also when it's actual dialogue, we have the one-sided conversation, right?
Yep.
Where you're just reading what the other character's saying to her, and maybe she'll like make a sound effect, but not actually talk.
yeah.
And then other times she would be like, other times she would say actual phrases and stuff. So it was sort of an awkward in between, but it was.
Yeah, no, it was. It's almost a little jarring. I guess I can understand the hesitancy on their part to do differently, but there's a part I remember in the demo when Peach vocally says, "What's wrong?" And then the character she's asking the question to responds in text and says, "What's wrong? Oh, this and that and the other." And I'm like, so wait, you're even having the dialogue acknowledge that she just said a thing that was considered dialogue.
I agree.
Voiced. I think another thing that I want to throw out there, as far as this game is concerned, is I like how they're taking an established but underrepresented character and kind of giving her her own time in the spotlight. I think that it's fun. They've done a little bit of that in the past with like Super Princess Peach, which I hear was kind of cringe though. But I feel like it's fun that they're kind of expanding her character a little bit, and I think it's going to bring a lot of fun charm to an established character and make her more than just a damsel in distress kind of thing.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's kind of why I hope the game does well, and that it, the potential we can see just in the demo, that they expand on that, and then the full game is better than everybody's imagining. That's what I hope for, because I think it is a character that deserves a good game. So,
well, and it's just fun to see her in a lot of different like scenarios and almost like what's the word I'm looking for? Like representations of her personality, because we've never really had that, at least not very much in the past. There've just been light explorations, but in this one, it shows her in a lot of different roles, and I don't know. I guess it just kind of seems like it's just really fleshing out her character and empowering her in a lot of really fun and interesting ways. And I think that'll be fun. I think Austin was the one who said this. The idea that, hey, this is only for a specific audience. Like this type of game is not made for grown men, for example. Like, okay, pish posh for one thing. I can enjoy a game if it's well made. But also, I don't know, it just seems like I'd compare the potential of this game to the TV series Bluey. Like that TV series is basically made more for adults than for kids, but my goodness, it's fun for both. And I think that could be the case here.
Before we wrap up our thoughts, there is one concern I had playing the demo. So we had the 2 transformations that we got to try, and it was very different gameplay. And part of me started to worry a little bit, like, will half the game feel like a tutorial because of how different each transformation makes the gameplay? So I can picture that getting a little old for me if, like, you do a short level and then you've got to learn some new mechanics immediately, and then you feel like you're in another tutorial again. And there's a significant number of transformations. They revealed like 10 maybe, or approaching 10. And if you watch the trailers, they show, for example, one of the characters is like completely side-scrolling and you're doing like a platforming level.
A shoot 'em up.
Yeah, something like that. So I think maybe there will be like the beginning of the game where I can picture myself being a little bit feeling, I'm sick of this tutorial. But after that, when you've like had all the transformations and you know what to expect, maybe they can expand on it and it'll be fun. I don't know.
That's something I didn't think about, but you are absolutely fair.
But on the other hand, that could lead to a lot of gameplay variety, and so maybe it would offset any feeling of I'm in a long tutorial. So,
well, maybe I've just got more tolerance for that than most. But like as a Xenoblade fan, people saying, "Man, I'm getting tutorials 60 hours into the game." I'm like, "This is great! Wow, this new mechanic!" That's me.
I have to admit that I'm tutorial adverse. I'd rather, if a game's going to put a wall of text at me at the beginning, just let me play the game and teach me gradually. I don't want to have to study a manual in order to know how to play a game. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, like,
David on this.
Would you have known what you were doing if Xenoblade 3 hadn't given you a tutorial at that one part of the game that I'm going to leave very, very vague? But the part that you surely know what I'm talking about, and they introduce a new mechanic that's very, very, very different, and they would just said, go.
No, tutorials are important, I'll admit it. But
okay, there you go.
Especially in RPG, there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, the tutorial, okay. Now I have to study to know how to play it. But
silly, impatient David.
I'm with you, Dave.
So
maybe I'll come
overall, I think Princess Peach
Princess Peach.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Dave?
Princess Peach Showtime has some promising potential, I think. And we don't feel like we have to wait too long to see official reviews.
I think
I just thought of a new costume for her, though. She needs to be Chorister Peach now.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
You direct a choir. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm
gospel choir. Princess Preach.
Wah, wah, wah.
You are there first from David. What's it? Forever.
Peach is gonna preach. That's right.
Maybe we want to go around and share maybe what costumes we're most excited to try or to learn in the Peach game. Something that we saw and then we're like, oh, that would be fun to try.
Ninja. The ninja looks fun.
Yeah. I was gonna say that too, but I also want to see what they do with the cowboy one as well. I don't know. I really like the design for that one. I don't know if it's gonna be like mechanically very interesting because all they showed was just riding a horse and doing lassoing, but it could be fun. Anyway, I'm curious.
I want to see.
I think for me it would be the she was almost in like a Samus style spacesuit flying around, kind of like Big Hero 6 kind of thing.
Yep.
I thought that would be kind of cool. She was flying around and it kind of reminded me of like Mega Man and shooting. I think that's what she was doing. But yeah, that's one that I was looking forward to.
You know what? That one looked, the part you're talking about, it almost looked like a shoot 'em up, right? It was where
That's why I said that.
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you had also said it was kind of like a platformer, but that one was more like a flying side scroller one, right?
Yep. It was.
I don't remember saying it was a platform.
Oh, maybe you didn't say platform. Maybe you just said side scroller shoot 'em up. Maybe that's what
maybe that's what I
said.
said.
It is a shmup. Yeah. I agree though, David. It looks really fun. It makes me think of some of those old SNES games. What are some examples?
R-Type?
Games like R-Type. Yeah, I played that game a ton as a kid. I loved that game.
Lisa,
Lisa, you need to give us your thoughts.
Well, I didn't play the demo, so
But which costume are you most interested in?
I was a big fan of Sword Fighter Peach.
Yeah,
It was pretty fun.
the design is fun.
Yeah.
They're all pretty fun. All right. Well, it sounds like our fearless leader, Steven, has been defeated by his computer and
Blame.
unable to continue participating as far as putting his voice in. So why don't you all just put down in the comments below what your guess of Steven's favorite costume is?
And also, please put yours as well.
Yes, and that too.
Kung Fu Peach, he says.
Yes, he's able to message us. Apparently he can hear us, he just can't speak.
Oh.
He's been
I'm muted.
muted. Anyways,
Kung Fu Peach.
so I'll guess I'll close this out. But yeah, so let us know your thoughts. What if you got the chance to play the demo? If you enjoyed it, or if you didn't, and your reasons for it. And if you enjoyed this discussion, give us a like and consider subscribing, if you will. It's always appreciated. And let us know if you think there's potential here. I think we're all feeling pretty hopeful. And until next time,
Keep it
Nerdy.
nerdy. Hey.